Need tires right now? Drive through the new speed lane at Flynn's Tire in Hermitage to get your new tires installed fast. Just drive in and we'll get you in at Flynn's and tell them Flinny sent you. The number to call is 724-981-7900. That's 724-981-7900. It's the Pick Sports Line live on News Talk 790 WPIC and Sports Radio 96.7.
Hi, I'm Jillian.
Hi, I'm David.
And now it's time to start the show.
Here are the hosts,
You Winger and our daddy, Bob Greenberg.
We are back. Yes, we are. The Pick Sports Line, presented by Flynn's Tire and Auto Service, flynnstire.com. And we are broadcasting live tonight till 7 o'clock on 790 WPIC, Sports Radio 96.7. We're on the Sports Radio 96.7 Facebook page. Post a comment or a question there. We're glad everybody jumps in on the video stream. And, of course, at X, at Bob Greenberg, our co-host is on the injured reserve list, Hugh Ringer. He is off at least 3 to 4 weeks. We are hoping he has a comfortable recovery here from his leg issues. That's all I'm going to say. But if all goes well, hopefully he'll be back by the end of the month. Maybe even sooner, kind of a week-to-week thing at this point. But we're thinking about you, Hugh. Hopefully you are comfortable and getting back. And we love to debate you about this Steelers season soon enough. But in lieu of that, Mark Slezak has returned, all happy with his Cleveland Guardians shirt on as the Guardians are playing right now. And what is the current update?
No score.
Okay.
After the 2.5. So no score, 2.5.
So if you're watching and Mark is a little bit distracted, he has a legitimate excuse, and we do appreciate him coming in during a Indians Guardians playoff game.
You won't even know I'm distracted. I lost my headphones there. There we go. Yeah, you won't know I'm distracted. I'm very professional. I've listened to so many things with an earbud in so many occasions, and people just never knew. And it's even easier now because used to be the cord hanging down, and people would say, "Are you listening to something?" Like, no. I'm fully present.
That's good to hear. So we will do our best here to talk Steelers in hour number one, as per usual, a Steelers post-mortem, as we call it, after a long day and night and into the morning. Lots to talk about when the Steelers lose a tough game to the Cowboys, which ended after 1 o'clock in the morning. No question, the latest finishing game in Steelers history. Jerry DePaul at 6:05. All things are going very well for the Pitt Panthers. 5-0 for the first time since 1991, and they are also ranked. It's been an incredible month and a half for Pitt. We'll talk to Jerry DePaul about that. A little bit about the Major League Baseball playoffs. We have Tom Reisenweber joining us at 6:30 this week in District 10. The big news, in addition to a lot of news last week, District 10 crowned golf champions and some big football games, but Pete Iacino, the longtime District 10 chairman, is ending that position as chairman at the end of the month. We'll talk to Tom all about that. Lock, Stock, and Barrel plays of the week, high school football review, Pigskin Pick'em, and we have to break a tie for the Bays Pub and Grill gift card as well. All about that in hour number 2. And Mark Slezak, the Steelers. First off, did you watch it until the end?
I didn't watch to the very end, but I watched the rest this morning. So I taped it. I watched it up to the point where Pittsburgh had scored again in the fourth quarter. And I thought, in a good position to win it, and one last touchdown for the Cowboys. But I did watch the game, yes.
I guess the initial question is this, because there's a lot of debate about it. I mean, the Steelers, it was an awful loss. Especially when you look at the specifics of the game. You rarely lose a game when you force 3 turnovers, you block a field goal, you have a late lead, you prevent Dallas from scoring multiple times in the red zone, and when all things are added up, you still lose the game. It's a difficult pill to swallow. It doesn't happen very often, Mark.
No, and so many of the numbers and the stats lean heavily towards the Cowboy side when you look at it, but the big number, which was a significant one that you mentioned, was the takeaways that the Steelers had in the game, plus blocking the field goal. So, yeah, a lot of things went the Steelers' way on that side, but it just came down to really a couple of long drives late in the game for the Cowboys to pull out the win.
The debate today is this, and this is an interesting one. for me. And if you want to call in, 724-981-7900, or obviously you'll post some comments on our Facebook page. Who is to blame the most last night? Is it the offense? Is it the defense? Or could you even go with the coaching staff? But think about it. The offense, obviously, they struggled, didn't score enough points. The defense played well for a long stretch, but gave up the game-losing drive in the waning seconds. And how about the coaching staff for maybe making mistakes on a variety of things, like not playing George Pickens enough last night, which was a shocking, I guess we found out during the game, and then Mike Tomlin talked about it after the game, holding his snaps down for a bizarre reason. We'll talk about that as well. But who's to blame, the offense or the defense or the coaches?
It wasn't a great defensive performance, probably to the standards of the Steelers and even what they've been playing this year. They played a very much bend but don't break kind of style. They did stop Dallas a couple of times in the red zone in the first half. They did have some pressure early in the game where they seemed like they were dominating anytime Dak tried to go back to pass, with both Herbig and Watt getting to the quarterback and at least putting pressure on them. And the Cowboys kind of a little bit disarray with some of their turnovers. You saw the exchange, or you may have, between CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, like what's going on there. And the Cowboys moved the ball but didn't get points. And that's kind of like the perfect Steeler scenario. Like, give up just the field goals. Don't give up the touchdown. Take care of things in the red. So it doesn't matter what they do, 30-30, 20-20. That's been the Steelers for the last 5-6 years, and has been working very well this year. And then, able to create those turnovers was big. And I think it just comes down to, like, was the defense tired at the end? And those 2 long drives for touchdowns, those were significant drives to on the 2 scores. It was 16 plays, 90 yards, and 8:32. And then the winning drive was 15 plays, 80 yards in 4:36. That's a ton of plays to be out there consecutively. And are they running out of gas there? Did Dallas figure something out, or is it to a point from the Steeler fan like we needed stops there and just didn't get them done?
And I think that's the big question. I look at it, and my position tonight is that the defense has pretty much carried the team this year, and at any level, there has to be some expectation for the offense to step up. The offense stepped up a little bit last night, but not good enough. Their passing game was 131 yards passing by Fields. They had really no production out of their wide receiving core. George Pickens is a lightning bolt now. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. So I think the question to me is this. The Steelers spent more money than any team in the NFL on their defense. They spent the least amount of money than any other team in the NFL on their offense. The Steelers, right now, the defense is carried away, but it's hard to expect a defense to be perfect every single game. And then you throw in the fact they're playing a high-quality quarterback, experienced, maybe the best receiver or the top 3 receivers in the league. And there's only going to be a matter of time where the defense is going to give up points. That's just natural. My thought is the offense has to begin to pick up its load, or this season will unravel.
It's complementary football. And when you have a really good defense, you need to do the offense do a little bit. But when you look at the way this game played out, and they took a 10-6 lead, and then gave up the touchdown, lost the lead, got the lead back again. And you thought with that late touchdown for Pittsburgh this is exactly what you want. We're in position to win this game, even though the offense didn't play great. But that's kind of the Pittsburgh style right now. Just do enough. They're still not expecting a lot out of Fields. He did miss some most open passes last night, 15 of 27, so not a great day. But he gives you such an opportunity with that ability to run as well as throw. And the offense did some, but it came down. I still think, Bob, it may come down to the second to the last touchdown drive that flipped the game, as they went 16 plays, 90 yards, 8:32 to have your defense out there. They may have gassed them on that drive. Pittsburgh came back and had one of their best drives of the year to score. They went 12 plays. They go 63 yards. They take 5 minutes of time off the clock, and they go ahead. And you think, wow, what a comeback for Fields and the crew and the Steelers. And then the defense has to go back out there again, and Dallas goes 15 plays yet again and win at the buzzer.
It's hard for me because you go into a game and the Cowboys had some of their key players, including their 2 edge rushers. They're all pros out of the game. So the expectations early on was basically, wow, the Cowboys are shorthanded. This should really not be that difficult for the Steeler offense to be able to move the ball. And they struggled. They struggled again. I don't know if it's a combination of lack of confidence in the quarterback. And as an example, opening drive, Steelers are in field goal range. 3rd down and 8 in field goal range, and the handoff was to a backup running back. I mean, that is a play in the history of football. 3rd and 8 in scoring position, and the Steelers hand the ball off in the first quarter was an indicator to me that Mike Tomlin was playing for the field goal, playing for a tight game, not letting Justin Fields make any mistakes. And I don't know if you can live in this NFL league with a very conservative quarterback strategy and win games.
That's a play they've used the last couple of years, but it's not that guy carrying the ball. That's a Jaylen Warren play. He's picked up first downs on that kind of surprise 3rd and long. He's a really tough runner. They miss him right now. I think they miss him a lot on the offensive side. Of all the players that have not played, he may be the most significant guy on the Steelers that's not played at really any significant time. He's a dynamic runner. He's powerful. He can catch passes. He adds another dimension. That play right there was for him. They thought, well, we got this guy, and he looks like Warren a little bit as far as his speed and his shiftiness. They thought that they were going to trick him on that play. That's basically what that was. So, maybe sometimes that's a little overcoaching when you think, hey, we got this play and it's going to work, and it didn't. They played for that field goal. They tried to trick him at that point. They don't get that touchdown. There's a lot of plays you could look back, a lot of drives you could look back and say, oh, if we just maybe did this right here or that right there, it's one of those games. One of the things you find interesting, and you bring it up about the highest paid defense. When it comes down to play, I don't know how much money comes into it. It's certainly expectation. You flip it over, and I know we're not talking about the Browns, but the Browns have the most highest paid offense. Look at that mess right now. So just because certain guys make certain amount of money,
but the Steelers
doesn't come down to those guys playing. The amount of money you make, it comes up so much. Well, they make this much money, they should be better. I'm like, they still got to play.
But it shows a philosophy from the organization that they have invested more money into their defense than their offense. And I think that's something that has continually been told, that the Steelers, and just think about what's happened in the last couple months. They did nothing to replace Deontay Johnson at wide receiver. They have made no, at least public efforts. There's been a lot of discussion and rumors, about even now recently with Devontae Adams, before it was Brandon Ayuk. They've done nothing to improve that wide receiver room. And I have to believe, and I think, you've watched a couple of the Steeler games now, and I've been saying this
I've seen them all. I've been
saying this for 4 or 5 months. The wide receiver room is not up to NFL standards. These guys are not getting open. It's hampering this offense. The Steelers have done nothing to improve it. And I don't know if they do nothing between now and the end of the year. I don't see how they get any better on the offensive side. I don't care if Russell Wilson plays next week or not. If your wide receivers are basically pedestrian and your lead wide receiver is a all-time diva, I just don't see how this offense gets any better.
And I think that was the most dangerous part about it, is going into this with putting all that on George Pickens and knowing that he's not always going to be a happy camper. He's going to have great games, and he's going to have games like yesterday where he's just not there mentally. Even early in the game, making some certain catches or not catching balls he normally makes. He got one ball on the sideline and he ran right out of bounds right away. I'm like thinking, what's with this guy right off the bat? There was just different things that weren't right about him last night. And we've seen that in him. He did that same thing, same routine in college. Ultra talented. There may not be a better pass catcher when he's focused than anybody. He catches more balls and configures his way to get his feet in bounds as well as anybody in the NFL. But he lasted later in the draft for a reason, and he's struggled at different places for a reason. You know you're going to deal with that at one way or another. And I think when you look against that balance of money, though, what's the difference between the defense and offense and how much you paid for that? And you have two quarterbacks who are certainly worth a lot more money than the Steelers are paying them. Russ is making $36 million this year. The Steelers aren't paying that.
Correct.
But that's what he makes. And then you've got the fifth-year option denied on Fields. He's probably got another, $15, $20 million quarterback if you have to renew that, and maybe more if he gets to a free agent status next year. Who knows what he might end up making. So there's a lot of money that the Steelers are saving on the books. So they got guys in on the cheap, and they decided not to do much more with the wide receiver room. Were they banking that they thought they had Ayuk? Did they think they had him all along? Was that what they were banking on, for that to happen, and it just strung out and didn't happen? And now, how actively are they pursuing a guy like Adams? Are they really going after him, or is that just smoke? I message this to you. I'll throw this out to everybody who want to listen. Are the Steelers a cheap organization?
Yes.
Are they cheap?
Yes.
And I brought
historically
it up.
They are.
No, but you're thinking it comes down to the ownership. And don't throw salary cap at me for anybody. There is no reason that they couldn't get Adams if they want him to put him under the cap. Anybody's going to fit under the cap. They could get Adams under the cap. They have to be willing to give something up, which they hate to do. They hate to give up the draft picks, and they certainly hate to give up a player. So they don't want to do that. And they don't want to sign guys until they get to that point where their contracts are renewed. Those are the guys that get signed often for Pittsburgh. Now, they did go out and throw some money at a punter this year. That didn't work out. That was no mistake of anybody. He would have been a great player. He just gets hurt on a fluke play. But it comes down, are they cheap? Are they willing to spend? You look at some other ownerships, they don't care. They're going to spend way, way over the salary cap by just manipulating the money and say this becomes a signing bonus, this becomes that. Look at all across the board. You can manipulate that cap and go way, way beyond on the books, just pushing things down the road. And you could do it for years and years and years, and what happens every year with the salary cap? It's higher the next year. So you could throw this money down the road, you get more and more and more and more cap every year. So I'm thinking there may be a point where they didn't get Ayuk because they didn't want to pay that next amount. They didn't get next because they didn't want to pay that next amount. If you would have told Ayuk you're going to give him this much money, he is in Pittsburgh. He wanted to be there. They had a deal on the table. The only thing that wasn't agreed upon was how much money Pittsburgh was going to pay. And they didn't hit his number. And
I think you look at the state of their offense, and it was as glaring as it could possibly be yesterday. If you watched any of the Ravens and the Bengals game, and you look at those two offenses, and you look at the Steelers offense, it looks like another league, another world, another sport. And the Steelers, there's such a fine line with the way they play into winning and losing. And their offense does not give them any breathing room because it's so difficult for them to score touchdowns that the fact they never did anything to upgrade that position. And Hugh and I got in debates about Deontay Johnson, and I would be going after him right now because Hugh said Deontay Johnson was a bad apple, blah, 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 blah. He was not even close to being as bad as George Pickens is right now. George Pickens last night, I saw the video today, he was running basically half speed on routes when he knew he wasn't getting the ball. And so it's basically he was tipping off the plays to the defense because he was running half strides. And then Mike Tomlin said last night, when asked about his lack of playing time, Mike Tomlin said this: we just wanted to kind of minimize his reps in an effort to get more productivity. We're just trying to manage in terms of the totality of the big picture. He wasn't less of a focal point in terms of our intentions of what we wanted to do offensively, but we did want to cut his reps a little bit in an effort to get higher quality play, just in general. What is that gibberish?
And they didn't get that. So
No.
if that was a statement that was going in, and again, Mike Tomlin, he does not like to throw his players under the bus for any reason. So he'll manipulate his words. I don't know what that intention was going into the game, but you saw the half speed routes. You saw he wasn't making an effort. You saw him not catching balls that he's caught on the sideline before. You saw him run out of bounds instead of pushing down the sideline, trying to get a few more extra yards. So there's things he's done. I don't know. Does this go back to last week with the one-handed fumble and what happened in that? And was he piled on for that and started
How about
to pout
the
because
eye
of that?
black? How about the eye
Yeah.
black last night? That alone was a selfish move by him.
Yeah.
Talking about how he's always swear word open. And I heard this morning Mark Cabali on The Fan in Pittsburgh. He said he had the binoculars on the Steelers sideline yesterday. And on multiple occasions, he saw Pickens going to the bench, sitting down next to a teammate, and within 10 seconds, the teammate got up and walked to another bench.
Wow.
It happened twice last night during that game. The teammates don't even want to sit by him because I'm sure he was complaining about something.
And it's hard. It's a situation that you thought, and part of Deontay Johnson being traded away may have been to eliminate the friction between Pickens and Johnson, give Pickens the chance to be the full-fledged number one guy. He's going to be the main focus. He's our guy. We're not going to bring in other guys to challenge him. And with that, he's going to be our number one, and he's going to be a good soldier, and he's going to play hard, and he's going to be amazing. And last night, he just wasn't.
We have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Hi, you're on the Pick Sports line. Are you there? You lost it. Try to call back. 724-981-7900. I agree with you. Mike Tomlin, he's been coaching 18 years. I don't remember the last time I missed one of his press conferences on Tuesday. I mean, I've watched them all for a variety of reasons. And I've watched them after games. Mm-hmm. I've watched hundreds and hundreds of his press conferences. And I know when he's BSing people or he's trying to spin. And you're right. He does not like to publicly. He thinks initially he does his things behind closed doors to motivate players. And if that doesn't work, in a lot of cases, they get rid of the players. But he does not like to call out his players publicly. But what he did yesterday with his word salad, there's no doubt in anybody's mind that was his intent. I'm letting George Pickens know if the fact he was on the sideline a lot more than Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin last night, and then he said he was working. He was dealing with holding his play back to get more production. Cam Hayward, who is 35 years old, was on the field for 20 more plays than George Pickens.
Yeah. So
it can't be any clearer to me. And the question is, will it be clear to George Pickens? We'll get through.
That I don't know. That's a really tough question to ask. It's always been that way with him. It's been that way with him for his entire football career from Georgia through Pittsburgh. So when things are going well and he's getting the ball and getting targeted a lot, he's happy, he's talented, he's good. And when he's not, he becomes a different player out there. And you just mentioned a kind of a point that, really jumped out at me. When you say your two receivers out there are Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin. Because you're not getting in Pickens and he's on the bench. Those are your guys?
Yes.
And then you go with Freiermuth, who's a decent tight end, and then Hayward is not. Those are your four. And you're like, all of a sudden, why can't we run the ball? Well, because the other defense is they can stack the box now. They're not afraid of these guys on the outside. So you have a lot of things. You need, as Steelers, Pickens to be really, really good for this offense to be good. And right now, without him playing or trying or making that effort or whatever it might be, they're not a good offense. They almost pulled it out last night because the defense will always keep you in the game. They lost by 3. They lost by a touchdown with 30 seconds to go. And yeah, you didn't expect that kind of drive to beat them because normally this was the exact script that the Steelers went on. The only thing that was wrong in the script was the Cowboys somehow went down the field late in the game and got a touchdown. That's usually a pickoff, a sack fumble, whatever it was that gets in midfield and turn it over on downs. I've seen it so many times. Pittsburgh against anybody late in the game, they don't drive the field. They don't. Of all the teams, and all the teams with their comeback quarterbacks, whatever, everybody has this, it never happens against Pittsburgh. They always found a way. Last night, they didn't have it. Were they out of gas late in that game? It's been a really long day and night for everybody. I don't know. But that second to the last drive that ate up all that time and all those plays probably had something to do with the last drive being not effective as well.
We may have a caller. Get high, you're on the air. Now we lost you again. I thought, and it was interesting to me because, I thought it maybe tipped it off on the second to last play before they scored. Tolbert got dinged up and was limping. And they were going to run a play, and then the Cowboys called a timeout because they were taking Tolbert off the field because of the injury. They kind of stopped the game. And then when they took the timeout, I said, boy, I wonder if this play is going to be to Tolbert because they made an effort to call the timeout to make sure he could get back on the field. And lo and behold, that was the game-winning touchdown.
And that is an interesting viewpoint because, again, if they don't take the timeout, he has to sit out the play. So, yeah, it could very well have been. They may have seen something in the coverages or been trying to set something all night, and it certainly worked out for them.
We're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to get it out of my system now because a few people were text or posting on Facebook. Yes, it was an amazing day yesterday. I had my second hole-in-one. It's the video now being seen around the world. Just an incredible, one of those things you never expected. Obviously, it was a good shot. And the first thing my wife said, Mark, she says, "Why didn't you do it in an outing and win a new car?" So how about that for a reaction?
I think that's a great thing that Kristen should say. That's pretty awesome. But no, what a great chance for David doesn't live here. He lives in Miami now. For him to be here, to be there for the weekend, for you guys to get a chance. The Steelers played late, gave you a chance to go out on a beautiful day. A little bit of wind. I don't know. Did the wind help you on that shot? I don't know.
It made it harder.
Made it harder. Okay, but certainly a great moment. If you haven't seen the video, you need to look at it. Yeah, there may be some language.
There's one F word. There's one word in there I used.
There's one excited word in there, but it is just the true elation. And I was snapshotting pictures off the video to show Bob to him, and this elation. What a great moment! Something to share with your kid. I think that's super. I enjoyed watching it. I was excited for you at that moment when I saw the video as well. Really cool to see. Really cool, and congratulations.
I had somebody say they thought I was going to drive the cart onto the green. I was that excited. I thought it went in, but I wasn't. You're never 100% sure until you see it. We have a caller. Let's try to get to this caller for the third time. Hi, you're on the air.
Oh, it's about time. I've been waiting for 15 minutes to call in here.
No, you're on.
When your phone.
Don't blame
when your board lights up, you could talk for maybe a minute, but give your callers a chance to say something. Well, I was waiting for 10 minutes.
Well, we're giving you a chance. Tell us what you're thinking.
All right, here's what I'm thinking. It happened last night. It happened the week before. It happens every game. They cannot cover the middle of the field. I knew. 3rd and 17, I said they're going to pick it up. Pittsburgh can't cover the middle of the field. And then they also don't throw in the middle of the field. They go down the line. That one screen pass one time where Calvin Austin caught it, that was a beautiful play right in the middle, and then he took off and scored that touchdown. I'm telling you, they have no pass defense. They got I don't know about the defense being number one, but I'll tell you what, overall, their pass defense is the Swiss cheese pass defense. So many holes.
Well, it wasn't good yesterday. And you have to also consider, because I saw Mike Tomlin before the game, his press conference. The Cowboys have one of the top receivers in the league. They were very, very concerned about CeeDee Lamb, which meant they were taking the outs away. Lamb did not have a big game. They pretty much kept him under control. He had no big game-breaking catches. So from that aspect, the strategy worked. But you're right. The middle of the field wasn't covered. They had to give up something. And unfortunately, the Steeler defense, those guys who cover the middle of the field, didn't do a good enough job.
Well, here's my point. They don't do a job every game in the middle of the field. I've been seeing that for years. I've been watching Pittsburgh since Bill Austin was the coach, before Chuck Noll. They can't cover the middle of the field.
Well, they have to give up something. The defense is ranked in the top 5 in the league still this year. And they went into the fourth quarter giving up just 6 points last night. I mean, everything was set up to win the game. The offense, I thought, let them down. The offense has to score more points.
Yeah. What was the stats on the third down situations that Pittsburgh picked up? I don't think they picked up too many.
Let me look here. I can get the stats real quick. Steelers on third downs, they were 3 of 12. You're right. Terrible.
Okay, so that gives their defense needs a rest too. If you can't put a couple, plays together, a couple first downs, you're putting your defense on the field too soon. They're going to get tired. That's what happened.
I would agree. I also think the defense, they carried this team last night. They've carried them through the first 5 weeks. There's going to be some room for error for this team. The defense, they can only do so much. I mean, you give up 20 points and it was only 6 going into the fourth quarter. The offense had chances, as you said, to extend drives. They didn't do it. They didn't give the defense a chance to rest. I put the sole blame on last night's loss on the offense.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I appreciate the call. Thank you. We held him on hold for 10 minutes, and then that was it.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about Najee Harris? 14 carries, 42 yards. Are they abandoning the run game too soon?
That'll be next. We'll take a break. Good segue, Mark Slezak. We're going to take a break. Mark filling in for Hugh Ringer, who is on the IR. Hopefully Hugh is doing better, but hopefully back in a couple weeks. But this is the Pick Sports Line. We'll get some of the comments from our Facebook page as well. We appreciate everybody joining us there. This is the Pick Sports Line presented by Flynn's Tire right here on 790 WPIC Sports Radio 96.7.
Hi, this is Joe Flynn with Flynn's Tire. We know how valuable your time is, so we've made it fast, easy, and affordable to buy tires. There's 3 easy ways to purchase tires from Flynn. First, just drive in, because Flynn's will get you in right now. No appointment necessary. The second option, give us a call, and we'll help you select and reserve the perfect tire for you. The third option, save time and buy online at flynnstire.com. It's that easy. Just drive in, and Flynn's will get you in right now.
Tell them Finney sent you.
Vay's Pub and Grill is proud to award the September 2024 Mercer County Team of the Month. Vay's is proud to announce that Grove City Girls Soccer is the September Mercer County Team of the Month. Congratulations to Grove City coach Darcy Holmes and her outstanding soccer team, as they are the September Vay's Pub and Grill Mercer County Team of the Month. For more information, go to vayspubandgrill.com.
Let's see, landscapers I can afford. All right, searching affordable landscapers near me. Here we go.
Right here, sir. How can we help?
It's the same ones I saw last time.
Sir, we're right here and reasonably priced. Why is he not seeing us?
It looks like the ugly yard stays.
Sir, can you not see us?
Nope, he can't see you because you're buried deep in the list of local landscapers. You're invisible online. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Get a boost. Get found. Get on the map. Learn more at cumulusboost.com.
Listen to Senior Update with Sam Bellich every Friday morning at 9 as he explores issues and concerns about seniors in our community. Sponsored by Mercer County Area Agency on Aging Incorporated, Pennsylvania Medicare Education and Decision Insight, PAMED, which offers free Medicare counseling by specially trained staff to answer your questions about Medicare, Medicare savings programs, Medicaid, and supplemental insurances. For more information, call 724-662-6222 or 1-800-783-7067. This project is supported by a grant from the Administration for Community Living. Do you have a loved one in a long-term care facility? Pennsylvania's Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program works to empower residents and advocates for those who are unable to advocate for themselves. Call 724-662-6222 for more information or to become a volunteer. Listen to Senior Update every Friday morning on News Talk 790 WPIC on air, online at 790WPIC.com, and on the 790 WPIC radio station app.
It's the Pick Sports Line, presented by Flynn's Tire and Auto Service. Need tires right now? Drive through the new speed lane at Flynn's Tire and Hermitage to get your new tires installed fast. Just drive in, and we'll get you in at Flynn's. And tell them Flinny sent you.
And we are back. Pick Sports Line. Bob and Mark Slezak here tonight, filling in for you. 724-981-7900. We have a toll-free number if you want to use that. 866-246-7957. 866-246-7957. Let's check our Facebook feed. Bill Doyle, let me start this off. One word, pathetic, period. I would agree. Let's see. We have a Mike here. He has a lot of comments. Our weak point on our defense has said this, and I've said this for the last few years. Run the ball against the Steelers. You're going to beat us. Mike has a question for Mr. Cleveland Brown fan. Let me get your mic on here. I'm
Mr. Football fan, Mike. Come on, I don't just
Mr.
call you
Cleveland
Mr.
Brown fan.
Steeler fan.
I feel bad for you guys. I watched that game. You guys, quarterback is probably the worst trade in NFL history.
Going into the season, I was still hoping that there was just a little bit of life, that I wouldn't have to say and agree with everybody that has said it for a couple of years. This is the worst trade in NFL history. I feel right now that this is the worst trade in NFL history. It's bad right now. It is not good, and it's a tough spot. I feel bad for Kevin Stefanski as the coach. I don't even know if it's his choice as to who gets on the field right now. But, yeah, it was ugly for the Browns yesterday. 34-13 loss over to the Commanders. And, Jane Daniels was fun to watch, though. If you're a Washington fan, he looked pretty good.
I was rooting for Washington because Andre Coleman is a coach on that team. Yeah, he's off to a great start.
Coaches the receivers, and that was something that was a positive. But, yeah, the Browns struggled. The defenses struggled. The offenses struggled. It's a tough time right now. Who would have thought, both the Bengals and Browns to be 1-4, and the Steelers with the Ravens both at the 3-2 in the division, in a division that was just so good a year ago.
Terry, how you doing? Terry Yoder, also Bill, both in Florida now. We are praying for you and everybody down there as they prepare for what looks like to be a incredibly dangerous hurricane.
Another, Category 5 storm coming through. So please be safe. Get out if you can.
Yeah, hopefully all goes well. You asked about Najee Harris.
Yeah.
It was reminded to me yesterday in part of my complaining on X about the lack of touches early for Najee is that Arthur Smith did the same thing in Atlanta with Bijan Robinson, that they had a star running back and kind of platooned him with other guys, and it's been kind of the DNA. The Steelers were clear when they didn't extend Najee Harris before the season that there's an awfully good chance this is going to be it for him. And then you go into game like last night. There was a play, I think at one part of the game, the Steelers were at their 1-yard line after an interception. And you figure, okay, you got to have a guy that's as dependable as anybody running it out of there. And they had their practice squad running back carry the ball out of the end zone. And Najee's had like 3 fumbles in his career. So I don't know what's going on there with Najee Harris. People criticize him a lot, but from some of the experts that I read and see, former Steeler players, a lot of this is not on him. A lot of it's the poor blocking on the offensive line. The scheme also doesn't really suit him very well. I think Najee Harris has shown when he is running downhill, he can catch the ball at the backfield. He is a very, very competent NFL running back. He should have had more touches last night. Should have been a bigger factor. I sure hope so, especially with Warren and Patterson out. I was shocked he didn't get the ball 25 times.
He had 2 catches for 35, 14 carries for 42, along 6, but he runs hard. And when I watch him play, I sometimes I'm wondering why he's not getting more carries, but then you will see a positive carry, and then the loss of 2 or the no gain. But that's not on him as he's getting hit before it can get to the line of scrimmage. So I can't imagine that every time he's losing yardage, it's his fault. It's just sometimes there's a hole, but when there is a hole, he runs well. I like him as a back. He doesn't seem to be running like a guy who's disgruntled. He seems like to be giving a great effort when he's out there. I think he's a guy that the Steelers could use a lot more.
724-981-7900 if you are wanting to call in and chat with us.
I got the next question for you.
Go ahead.
And to really go up for everybody out there, is it time for Russell Wilson?
It's on my list.
Sold last week. Everybody was sold last week, 100%.
Has Justin Fields earned another start? That was my question.
Yeah.
And I'm torn right now. Now, there's a report today, Jerry Dulac reported that Russell Wilson was cleared to play 2 weeks ago. But the Steelers have been very, very conservative with his return because apparently he was cleared a month ago, and right before he was going to be the number 1 guy, he tweaked his calf again. So they were being extra conservative. So to answer your question, I don't know how the Steelers will be any better offensively with a guy that's 35, not as mobile. It takes out, some of the productive plays with Justin Fields have been with his legs, and those will go all out of the game plan when Russell Wilson's playing. My gut feeling is, and even some folks were that watched some of the discussion last night and heard Chris Collinsworth's discussion, that it does appear that the Steelers are preparing to bring Wilson back into the lineup. It's hard to argue with the offense not being as competent with Fields, at least, this week. But how much is that is the game plan? How much they have hampered Fields but not letting him throw the ball down the middle? There's still some questions I have, but I think it's inevitable that we're going to see Russell Wilson sooner than later.
I think they're playing to the strengths of Fields in what they're doing offensively. The idea of not allowing him to throw the ball in the middle of the field, the idea of having run plays for him. But he was just 15 of 27 yesterday, and it was a tough weather condition day, so we'll give him that too. But 131 yards, that's not a lot of yards on 27 passes thrown, 56%. Yes, a couple of touchdowns, and a rating around 100. So the rating wasn't horrible, but he's a guy that over his career has not done well throwing the ball over the middle. So he's limited on where he can throw the football, and as other teams squeeze him to the outside, and he took some vicious shots last night too. That's something that you worry about going down the road with a quarterback of this style that relies so much on his legs. You are going to take some shots. You are going to miss some plays, and who knows how long. It was funny that they eventually got him out. Allen completes a pass. Fields comes in, completes 4 more. They score a touchdown. That was a shocking kind of scenario, but you're going to get your quarterback hit a lot in this kind of guy. I don't know if Russell Wilson's an answer. It's a different style. You'll see a different quarterback. He's not going to run around, but he's going to make better choices. He throws a good deep ball. So things will be different if he gets a chance. The Justin Fields that you saw in the last 2 games is the Justin Fields that was playing in Chicago. The side that wanted him out of Chicago.
Right.
The beginning part was the side that got him drafted first in a first-round pick. The first several games when he was outstanding and he ran and passed and did everything you wanted, that's a Justin Fields that has shown up on many occasions. But then things just happened to him. The fumbles, the just once in a while, just a weird play that could flip a game, or a game like yesterday where he's just an average quarterback. And when the Steeler defense plays to the best of their ability, his averageness is just fine. It's plenty enough to win games. They still held the Cowboys to 20 despite giving up 14 in the fourth quarter.
We have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Hi, you're on the Pick Sports line.
Hi, just to comment on the quarterback situation.
Yeah, go ahead.
The problem goes deeper than this. It was never addressed when Ben got hurt. They let it fester, and you don't have a big-time quarterback, you're not going to win. And I'll listen to your comments.
Well, there's no question about that. And I think the Steelers have been in NFL purgatory since Ben has retired. That's not unusual. Some other teams, like the Packers, have been blessed with getting good quarterback after good quarterback. The question that I have is, and the Steelers got rid of all 3 of their quarterbacks from last year. And they brought in, through the luck of a variety of things, they brought in 2, at least quality guys with pretty good resumes in Wilson and Fields. The question is, if neither one of these guys are the future quarterback, and of course Fields is a lot younger, then the Steelers are going to be back to square one again next year, and it's going to set the organization back another couple of years. I mean, you don't get new quarterbacks and win immediately. So the Steelers have to find out if it's going to be one of these 2, because they would, I'd imagine, maybe try to sign one of these 2 in the offseason. But if neither one works out, then the Steelers are in a complete free-for-all in my mind.
No doubt. When you look at these things and you look at what they have, is the Justin Fields of yesterday and maybe even back into the Colts game, is he a guy that you want for the next 5-6 years? Is that the guy you want? When you look at yesterday, you look back at the Colts game, just in this short stretch, and again, everybody has their up and down games, but is he the guy long term? Because he's had these kind of games consistently in his career. That's kind of what he is. He's going to have some splash games. A couple of years ago, he was running like crazy, 100-yard games and throwing enough and winning, and the Bears turned it around. And then all of a sudden last year, he kind of floundered, and then the Bears season, which looked so good, kind of went downhill when he had these kind of games back to back. Russell Wilson's resume is outstanding, but he's not that guy anymore.
He's 35.
He's not the guy that won the Super Bowl. He could be crafty, still be good. You look what Joe Flacco's done last year with the Browns, this year with the Colts. Those guys, the guys that can still know, they're cerebral, they can play the game. They're still out there, but they're not the guys they were before. So I don't know if Wilson is a Super Bowl quarterback anymore. We haven't even seen him this year to see what he is, but he had a couple good games last year with Denver, and he had a couple bad games too. So it's hard to judge. But you're right. Anytime that it's your turn to get a quarterback, and you go to the NFL draft, it's a crapshoot. You don't know.
Steelers know that very well.
Caleb Williams had a pretty good game yesterday, his first really good game. Jaden Daniels has been really good. Some of the other guys over the last few years have struggled. Look where we are, though, right now with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. So these guys were number 1 picks years ago, and it just looked like they fizzled. They were done. And over time, hey, these guys are pretty good quarterbacks. At least this year they are. You just don't know it. It is so hard to hit on a quarterback in the draft, no matter where you're picking, whether you're picking in the top 3 or you're picking anywhere else in the first round or even in the second round, trying to get a guy.
Look at Trevor Lawrence.
It's hard. It is hard.
Trevor Lawrence was the guy everybody wanted.
Yeah.
They were losing games to draft him, and now he has turned into be just a above average quarterback.
Yeah. And he's had moments of greatness. And Josh Allen, if he can't run the ball, is he a guy? He still has done very well because he can run. He's probably the best out of that group the year that the Browns picked Mayfield. But you look at that, the other guys that were in that draft too. There's a couple guys that were in that draft that went in the top 10 that aren't even playing football anymore. So it is hard to get a quarterback. The way the Steelers got their quarterbacks this year by picking guys that played before is actually not a bad idea. To get these two guys at very little money and hoping that one of them hits is great. Now, Fields had been really good and not so much yesterday and in the second part of the Colts game. And Russell Wilson, we don't know yet. But if either of those guys play well and they can continue to play well, then maybe the Steelers found something for a cheap price, at least for this year.
Yeah, and I think that's the big question. To answer your question, I am still to be determined about Justin Fields' future as the Steeler quarterback. I still need to see more, and I still believe no matter if nothing changes this year, I think it's going to be unfair to grade him only because his wide receiving group is got to be the worst in the league. So the fact that they didn't give him any weapons around him. Now, if somehow, some way, Devontae Adams comes to Pittsburgh with George Pickens, and you got Austin, then you might have at least a good 8 or 9 weeks to say, okay, if you can't be productive in this offense with these weapons, then you're not the guy. But I think right now it's incomplete in my position.
I would have felt a lot better as a Pittsburgh fan if Ayuk would have gotten here than now thinking, well, Adams, who he still has some air in the tires, maybe? I don't know. The gas, what does he have? He's had some diva issues the last couple years too. Would he be better than what Pittsburgh has? Yeah. But is he a guy that would come in and be a savior and be there for a while? I don't know. So it's like it's a tough spot that they've put themselves in right now. I don't know if there was a better way. They really felt that they needed to take care of this offensive line, and they've done that in the last couple of drafts. And maybe they passed on some skilled players along the way, and now they get snake bit and get some injuries along that offensive line. So that's hurt them. And maybe that has a lot to do with the running game just not being as good, or Fields not being as good the last couple of weeks with not as much time to throw because your frontliners aren't there.
Quick call. Hi, you're on the Pick Sports line.
Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. There he is.
Now, if Hugh was here, he would say, oh, must be a Browns fan. Which
Can't
is
be a Browns
not
fan.
necessarily true because your number one rival isn't even the Browns anymore. Could be the Ravens or anybody else. You could not have had the bigger mix in the stadium last night of the we either love you or hate you teams playing each other. Nobody wants to watch. If you're not a Steeler fan, nobody wants them to win. If you're not a Cowboy fan, nobody roots for them to win. So that was a game that everybody's there's just 3 sets. There was the Steeler fans, there was the Cowboy fans, and everybody else in the world that want both those teams to lose.
I would agree. And I mean,
so every
this guy can't be a Browns fan.
Every laugher can't be, like I said, if you're
can't be a Browns fan, they're the laughing stock in the league right now.
I would agree. So, it's like maybe you feel a little bit better if the Steelers lose when you're a Browns fan because of what you remember as a rivalry. And well, at least I don't have to take it as hard this week because they lost too. But yeah, there's nothing, probably not much worse than the Browns and trying to be a Browns fan right now. So yeah. I'm going to say that guy's not a Browns fan, even though he would have been said to be because he laughed.
And some people say that I like to troll sometimes on social media. I was
social media bully.
I was very conservative yesterday. I had one little tweet about the Browns, but it was not really awful. because I was concerned. I think the Steelers are playing. I don't want to jinx them.
Yep, I was very happy you were out golfing.
Yes.
See, that was good karma. You didn't stay home just to bash the Browns. You got out with your son. You golfed. You got a hole-in-one. Much better. You didn't make my day any worse because I'm like, will you just be quiet with these tweets? And I hate when you tweet about my team. Like, you can tweet all you want about the Steelers, good, bad, and ugly. Don't tweet ever about any of the teams I like.
Oh, that's definitely not going to happen. But we need a break. We'll come back and wrap up this first hour. We appreciate the calls tonight. Also, the interaction on Facebook. This is the Pick Sports Line, presented by Flint's Tire right here on 790 WPIC Sports Radio 96.7.
Hi, this is Joe Flynn with Flynn's Tire. We know how valuable your time is, so we've made it fast, easy, and affordable to buy tires. There's 3 easy ways to purchase tires from Flynn. First, just drive in, because Flynn's will get you in right now. No appointment necessary. The second option, give us a call, and we'll help you select and reserve the perfect tire for you. The third option, save time and buy online at flynnstire.com. It's that easy. Just drive in, and Flynn's will get you in right now.
Tell them Finney sent you.
How well do you know your insurance company?
Well, I know I pay each month, and I'm covered.
Okay. Are you sure you have the best rates? Do you have the right coverage for your needs? Are you paying for things you don't need?
Well, I haven't actually talked to my agent. I just assumed...
Talk to a real person. Talk to someone local and see the difference.
Mailer Insurance is local. Mailer Insurance lives where you do, and will give you the coverage you need and nothing you don't at a fair price. And they are always here to talk. Mailer Insurance in Sharpsville or at mailerinsurance.com, a Reinhardt's Agency Incorporated affiliate.
Stay refreshed and hydrated with Herman's Water, your go-to bottled water choice in the Valley since 1908. Herman's premium spring water is sourced from nature's purest springs, delivering a crisp taste that quenches your thirst. Say goodbye to dehydration and hello to hydration. Visit hermanswater.com to order your supply today that can deliver to your home or office for free. Ask about our new customer offer of 1 month free rental and 2 free bottles. Herman's Water, when taste matters.
It's the Pick Sports Line, presented by Flynn's Tire and Auto Service. Need tires right now? Drive through the new speed lane at Flynn's Tire in Hermitage to get your new tires installed fast. Just drive in, and we'll get you in at Flynn's. And tell them Flinny sent you.
All right, we're back here. Caller, we got about a minute or two, so what's on your mind? And you hung up. Try it again. Caller, are you there? No, we lost you. Sorry about that. 724-981-7900. So the big question tomorrow will be, because from all accounts, Russell Wilson is going to be cleared to play this week. Mike Tomlin will speak tomorrow with the media, and is he going to make the quarterback change?
I think of all situations, this is at least an opportunity because they've lost a couple of games now that he can give it a chance. I think if Russell Wilson's ready to play, he's going to get an opportunity.
Hi, you're on the air, caller.
Hey, I'll make this real quick. I just want to let all the Tomlin lovers, we get another winning record this year. That's 18 Super Bowls in a row. And I want to tell the Mr. Cleveland Brown fan, if the Browns make it to the Super Bowl, yes, I root for local teams.
What are you talking about? You're not rooting for the Browns. Stop that.
If the Browns make it to the Super Bowl,
I graduated in 1990. I was rooting for them when they had Bernie Kosar because we were terrible. I root for local teams.
Local teams.
Love the show.
All right, thank you.
I don't.
That's insane.
I don't think I would root.
He's
I
the only
root for division teams.
He's the only Steeler fan in the history of the world that would be rooting for the Browns. I believe it, but I don't believe it.
Yeah, I'm going to say there's probably not many. He may not be the only one, but it's not a long list.
I can't imagine.
I didn't root for the Steelers in any of the Super Bowls.
No. I rooted against the Browns every second of every game for 50 years.
And you always will.
I know.
Every single game.
But, so we'll find out. Is it going to be Russell Wilson or Justin
What do you think? What do you think?
I do believe that if Russell Wilson is clear to play, and especially with back-to-back losses, it opens a door on the road. You want to give Justin a chance to recover. Maybe even some phantom injury will come out of nowhere that he got a big hit yesterday. Maybe he's dealing with a concussion. there'll be something that'll come out that'll open the door for Russell Wilson.
And he'll still get some plays. He'll still come in if he's healthy and run a few plays as well. I think he'll still have a package or two for him, for Fields.
We'll find out. That's going to do it here for hour number 1. Coming up, hour 2, we have Jerry DePaula, Tom Reisenweber, high school football, Pigskin Pick'em. Stay tuned. The Pick Sports Line presented by Flynn's Tire and Auto Service right here on 790 WPIC, Sports Radio 96.7.
You're listening to News Talk 790 WPIC, Sharon, Hermitage, and Sports Radio 96.7 WLLF, Mercer, Hermitage, a Cumulus station.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Peter King, live in Orlando. Hurricane Milton is just over 2 days from hitting Florida's Gulf Coast. Hurricane warnings are up as evacuation orders are too. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell in Tampa.
Hurricane Milton is a Category 5 storm. It is a serious storm. It is going to bring life-threatening storm surge to many communities.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Storm surge watch has been issued for the Florida Gulf Coast from mainland Monroe County to the Dixie-Levy County line. Possibility of 8 to 12 feet of storm surge is forecast.
Top winds right now at about 180 miles per hour. Traffic cams show long lines of traffic heading inland from Tampa Bay, which is expected to be hit hard. Elections officials in states hit by the last storm are trying to keep everything on track.
I'm Jim Crisula, North Carolina. Meeting in an emergency session, members of the State Board of Elections reiterated several times that they're committed to ensuring early voting and Election Day happens on schedule in flood-ravaged areas of North Carolina. 13 counties have polling places or mailing services that were, quote, severely disrupted by Hurricane Helene.
A year after the Hamas attack on Israel, Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris says never again.
I believe that we must never forget. I will never forget October 7, and the world must never forget.
GOP vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance spoke at a pro-Israel rally.
We are united in the basic common sense principle that we want the good guys to win and we want the bad guys to lose. And what happened on October the 7th was disgraceful, and we have to fight to make sure it never happens again.
Georgia's restrictive abortion law is back on the books, at least for now. WSB's Jonathan O'Brien has more on a state Supreme Court ruling.
The decision allows the 6-week abortion ban to remain in effect during the appeal process. ACLU of Georgia legal director Corey Isaacson says they are sad and angry.
We will continue to explore all legal and advocacy options to do what we can.
Georgia Life Alliance executive director Claire Bartlett says,
we expect the Supreme Court will uphold the Life Act.
Jonathan O'Brien for CBS News, Atlanta.
She was a star long before her daughter Whitney eclipsed her fame. Singer Sissy Houston has died. Her roots? They were in gospel. But she also sang pop, R&B, and disco, and sang with Aretha and Elvis. Her family says Sissy Houston has died from Alzheimer's disease. She was 91. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? They're yours, and Progressive protects them both. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
With Monday Night Football coming up.
All eyes will be on Travis Kelce's box at tonight's Chiefs Saints showdown in Kansas City.
She might not be here right now. I know she's coming in for the game.
Travis tipping off reporters he expects his girlfriend Taylor Swift to be in attendance. He's not the only one looking forward to it. Businesses in the city are thanking the music superstar for an economic boom. The vice president of Kansas City's Area Development Council tells USA Today they've gone from a hidden gem to a new golden era. Coffee shops and restaurants are brimming with patrons, and hometown pride merch has been flying off store shelves. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
You may have heard Dolly Parton has made a large donation to help victims of Hurricane Helene. You may not have known that she changed the words of her song Jolene to Helene to publicize the need for help in her native Tennessee and other hard-hit areas. Peter King, CBS News.
It's the Pick Sports Line, presented by Flynn's Tire and Auto Service. Need tires right now? Drive through the new speed lane at Flynn's Tire and Hermitage to get your new tires installed fast. Just drive in, and we'll get you in at Flynn's. And tell them Flinny sent you.
And we're back. Pick Sports Line. Bob and Mark. Hugh remains on the injured reserve list. And now joining us is Jerry DePaula, Trib Live Media. And Jerry DePaula, the Pitt Panthers, just when you think you know it all about sports, they come out and go 5-0 for the first time in 33 years. I mean, I can't even imagine anybody out there was predicting this.
No, I never thought they would win all five of their first five games. I thought maybe they'd win three. I thought maybe they'd lose to either West Virginia or Cincinnati, and I thought that going out of North Carolina was going to be a difficult task, and it was. And all these games have been difficult. You know, they had to come from way behind to beat Cincinnati and West Virginia. And in North Carolina, it was a good test. There's not a good team like they used to be. They're on their third string quarterback. There's no Drake May anymore. So they're a little bit easier to handle from that aspect. But Pitt played well on defense. Very well. Probably their best game on defense all year against North Carolina. And part of it was because they were able to stop the Tar Heels on third and fourth down plays. That's the key. If you can get off the field on third down, and then Mack Brown, the North Carolina coach, decides to go for it on fourth down on 6 different occasions, and Pitt stopped him on 4, and that was key to the game, especially that last one. And the running back on Marion Hampton crashed into the line there on 4th and 1, with North Carolina trying to tie the score late in the game, and then Pitt stepped up and stopped them. So the defense is growing. It's inexperienced, but it's gaining experience, and they should only get better as the season wears on.
I had posted on X that I thought if Pitt would have won, which they did, they should have given a game ball to Mack Brown.
Well, maybe he could have kicked a chip shot field goal there in the first half, and he didn't do it. On one of those fourth downs, and Pitt stopped him. But Mack Brown is a 73-year-old, legendary coach. He won a national championship at Texas. His team isn't as good and as talented as it's been in the past. So that running back is pretty good. That Hampton, he ran for about 106 yards. He's going to be a pretty good NFL back, I think. But Mack Brown is a lot of people are thinking this could be his last season, in Chapel Hill. We'll see.
The legend of Eli Holstein continues 5-0, first Pitt quarterback to do that since Dan Marino. I mean, this is the upper echelon when it comes to starts for a Pitt quarterback.
Yes, it is. If he can, be mentioned in the same breath with a guy like Marino, that's really something. And he's, one of the top quarterbacks in the ACC. I guess he's just on the fringe right now of Heisman consideration. I think he has a ways to go before that'll happen. But there's 7 games left in the season, and he can really, do a nice job in some of these nationally televised games. They got Syracuse on a Thursday night coming up in a couple weeks. This game against California is going to be not quite a marquee game, but it's going to be a very interesting game. It's going to attract a lot of attention because California nearly upset Miami the other night. That was a really good game. Miami's kind of lived a charmed life the last 2 weeks, playing Virginia Tech and in California and coming out with victories, when it looked like they were going to lose both of those games. That's what good teams do, and that's what great teams do. They win when they're not expected to win, and they win when things aren't going their way. And Pitt's been doing. Coming from behind in those two other games, and then stepping up and taking control of that game on Saturday when it was tied at three different occasions. So you got to give them the credit, for a team that we didn't expect much from them. We talked in the summertime, Bob. We thought this team would have a lot of growing pains, and so far those growing pains they've been able to cover them up for the most part. And Desmond Reed has been a godsend at running back. Not just running the ball. He didn't run the ball as well on the ground on Saturday, but he had 11 catches for 155 yards, I believe. He's quite the weapon, and that's something. You give him the ball, he could take it to the house, give him a little bit of a seam, a little bit of a crack, and he can score a lot of touchdowns.
I mean, he's my concern now is he getting overworked, and just hope he don't get dinged up too bad here down the stretch.
28 touches, I think it was 11 carries and 11 catches, and what did I say?
17.
17.
Yep.
Yeah. 28 touches. That's a lot of touches, for a guy who's only 5'8". But supposedly he's a tough guy. He's strong. He's watching. Look at him without his shirt on. He has a strong upper body. But he was dinged up a little bit. Didn't play the Youngstown State game at all. And in fact, the West Virginia game, if you recall, he wasn't even in on that last series when they scored the game-winning touchdown. And Narduzzi's asked about that almost every week, and are you using him too much? Well, coaches like to score touchdowns, and as long as that kid is healthy, then they're going to run him. I don't think it's going to be the way Mike Tomlin used to use Willie Parker, where he said, "I'm going to run until his wheels fall off." Because there are other weapons, and Eli Holstein likes to throw the ball, and he likes to throw it to Reed, obviously, but he has, Mumford made a couple nice catches in that game. C.J. Lee, the transfer from Western Carolina, he can take the top off the defense. There's other, and Gavin Bartholomew, they haven't used him much at all yet in the passing game, and I think they probably should try to maybe start emphasizing that a little bit more in these coming weeks. So there's other weapons to be used on that team, and I just hope that, and I'm sure that everybody else hopes that they're going to use Reed, smartly, and not run him until he comes up with a bum ankle or something.
And I'd imagine with the return of Rodney Hammond, that should help at least spread out at least the running game a little bit more. What do you know about this? This is one of the more unusual situations. He was suspended or ineligible for the entire year. Then that changed after 4 games. Has there been anything leaked about that, or what do we know?
No, nothing. Narduzzi didn't want to talk about it. He just said he's back. That's all I care about. We do know, and most are pretty sure. There's no official word, but we're pretty sure there was not academics. If it had been academics, he wouldn't have been allowed to practice with the team. And he practiced. He was suspended the day before the opener. That was the last August 30th, I think the date was. And he's been practicing and been with the team the whole time. He was on the sideline for all the games. He was at practice. He ran the scout team. Ran on the scout team the whole time. So it couldn't have been anything that serious. They're allowing him to go to practice every day. And whoever it was, I guess he did his penance. And I think maybe, and I don't know this for sure, I think with the athletic director being gone, maybe Heather Lyke was taking more of a hardcore stance against whatever Hammond did, and that's why they said at the beginning that he was suspended for the season. But after she left, maybe some people stepped in and said, "Hey, let's look at it again, and maybe give the kid a break." They haven't hired another athletic director yet, but maybe they took advantage of the situation, and since Heather was gone and she was one that made the original decision, they decided to let him come back after he sat out 4 games.
Yeah, I think it probably not a coincidence that once she left that he was eligible again. I think there's no doubt that there was something dealing with her and him that originally got him suspended, and once she left town, that opened the door to get him back. And obviously it's a big return for Pitt. Hammond's an outstanding running back who definitely will help this offense.
Yeah, he was the MVP in the Sun Bowl 2 years ago, and he was the running back that Mark Whipple used to use for the closed games in the fourth quarter of those championship season in 2021. And he is a good back, and that's why that he can back up Desmond Reed, and Daniel Carter's here to back up Desmond Reed. You won't have to run Reed as much, especially in situations where you're not desperate for a touchdown. So yeah, I think it's good to get him back, and he'll have to work his way back in, get his sea legs under him. But I think Reed is obviously going to be the starter from now on. And Hammond is going to be a guy that's going to be sort of a relief pitcher that will maybe extend extend Desmond Reed's life a little bit, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, you mentioned it in the opening about this defense. It's almost like the old no-name defense of yesteryear, and up to this point, all the publicity was going towards the offense, but the defense played their best game. A couple big stops, the defense is staying at the end, and that's a good sign. Hopefully, you're going into to the big part of the season.
Well, Kyle Lewis, outside linebacker, isn't a no-name. In fact, Narduzzi even said after the game, he said, "Let's just make him an all-ACC linebacker right now. Let's forget about the voting." He's really a great player. He's made a lot of great plays. He runs fast. He had a big sack at the end of that game. He had a sack earlier in the season, and he already has 2 interceptions. The interception to close out the West Virginia game. So I think he's has a real good chance to be an all-ACC linebacker this year. And he plays with a lot of energy and aggressiveness, like all those linebackers play. And Brandon George, the middle linebacker, is having a really good season. It's his 6th-year senior, so he doesn't make too many mistakes. Now they get Fitzsimmons back. Sean Fitzsimmons, a kid from Central Valley, had been hurt. Hurt in training camp, hadn't played the first 4 games. He played a lot, 40-some snaps against North Carolina, and did a nice job. He was probably partially responsible for stopping Hampton on that last drive. So that's a big get for Pitt, getting a guy like Fitzsimmons back in the middle of the defense.
Now Pitt ranked 22nd. They're playing on ESPN Saturday afternoon. I mean, they are in a prime position to really do something special this year if they can continue to keep winning. But the fact they're ranked, playing on the ESPN, the main channel on Saturday, is really a big step for the program.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Holstein and Reed can put up big numbers, they'll get a lot of national attention. And Holstein, being a quarterback, have a shot to be a dark horse, Heisman candidate. And they're 22nd in the nation now. And if teams above them keep losing and Pitt keeps winning, I'm not sure how far they can go. I don't think they're a top 10 team, and I really don't think they're even going to be in the 12 team playoff at this point. Maybe I'll be wrong, and they will make the 12 team playoff. But the ACC may not have more than one team in the playoff, depending on how the season goes. All these other, the SEC and the Big Ten have all these other teams that are going to take up some of those spaces. And for Pitt to be among the top 12, right now they're 22, 10 more spots, 10 more spots to vote upward. I wouldn't want to bet on it, Bob, but you never know.
What's the key on Saturday? Obviously, we saw California blow a big lead. Probably not a good thing for Pitt. You'd imagine if they had beat Miami, they'd have been on cloud 9. So they're going to be extra focused. They got a talented offense. It should be a very challenging game for Pitt on Saturday.
Yeah, there's some speed on defense, on offense in California. That Ott running back is a really good running back, Jaden Ott, and they have another guy they call the Jet, who's a very good running back. But their defense really let them down late in that game. Miami just sort of, I think if that game had gone on for another 2 or 3 drives, Miami would have scored in every one of them. It looks like that defense was tired, and maybe with Pitt, being a team that's averaging, over almost 50 points a game right now. I think that Pitt could take advantage of that and maybe win another shootout. But the defense is playing better. I think Pitt's going to win on Saturday, and I don't think it's going to be all that difficult. I think California, never was much of a threat in the Pac-12. Actually, when they win the Pac-12, and they do have a little bit better team this year, but they lost to Florida State too, and Florida State can't beat anybody. Let's see. I think Pitt will win the game by a touchdown or 2. And then Syracuse might be a difficult test because they just knocked off somebody on TV the other day I was watching. I can't remember which game that was.
They beat UNLV Friday night.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, an undefeated UNLV team. That's it. and then they got the toughest game probably in the next three or four games is going to be SMU on the road, because SMU has a really good team. They're playing really well. They're on a roll, and Pitt's going to have to play them in Dallas. That's going to be, to me, either that or the Clemson game after that are the two toughest tests of the year, and they're still to come.
I mean, the fact that Pitt is off next week, then the following week they play on Thursday night on ESPN, it's a golden opportunity here. You have back-to-back games on national television. If they keep winning, they're going to keep going up the rankings. If they lose Saturday, they're going to be off a week, drop out of the top 25, and that kind of deflates some of the momentum that they have built up here up to this point.
Yeah, it'd be nice to take a 7-0 record into that SMU game, even if they lose to SMU. To be 7-1 going into the Clemson game, because it's going to be tough down the stretch, because after they play Clemson, here we are. We're supposed to play them one at a time, but after they play Clemson, they got Virginia, which should be a win at home. Then Boston College and Louisville on the road, and both of those teams, got beat the other day. So, the ACC isn't that strong. So that's one thing working in Pitt's favor as far as getting close to 9 or 10 wins this year and getting a shot at the ACC championship. So we'll just have to see if they can continue to improve. Some of those young guys, can keep getting better and not make as many mistakes as they kind of made the other day. Sometimes they make those mental mistakes that coaches see that we don't see. Narduzzi talked about that today. It's a fun season so far, but 7 games is a long time.
One last question. Pitt basketball, less than a month away from their tip-off. Any updates on as they continue to prepare for their season?
Nothing I've heard, but we're going to talk to Jeff Capel tomorrow, and then they go to Charlotte after that for the ACC tip-off meetings. As far as I can tell, everything's fine. Like I told you, ran into Jorge Diaz-Graham, and his boot was off, and he was looking well. So, that's one injury they won't have to worry about. But Delalic, they say, is going to miss at least probably one game, which isn't that bad. Because if he only misses the Wofford game, so what? They can beat him without, because he's going to be a good player. A lot of people think he's going to be one of the best in the ACC. And if he has to, make sure that hand gets healed right before they start playing the tougher teams later on in November, I think that's a good idea.
Jerry, appreciate your time as always. Have a great week. We look forward to chatting with you next Monday.
Okay, Bob. Thanks.
All right, Jerry DePaula, Trib Live Media. Always a great insight on Pitt football and what a year it has been. We bring Mark Slazak back in. Mark, what is the update on your Guardians?
Stephen Kwan just made a miraculous diving catch in left field to end the 8th inning for the Tigers, where they would have scored a run. They had 2 on with 2 out, so we're still 0-0 going to the bottom of the 8th, Guardians and Tigers.
I just asked you, I said, what happens if this game goes extra innings?
And it's back to the old-fashioned baseball. There are no ghost runners in the playoffs.
Is there a pitch clock in the playoffs?
The pitch clock still stays there, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
The pitch clock is still there.
My.
I know you don't like the extra inning rule, but I think, when you play with something during the regular season, I feel the same about football too. Whatever your regular season rules, those should be your playoff rules too. I really am not in favor of having different rules for different times of the year, because you manage you a certain way, you play a certain way, you cater your team to be a certain style of team and how you use your bullpen and your pitching. And when you change the rules, even though it was the way baseball was played for years, that changes the game. I think it does change the mindset to a certain extent. That I'm not a fan of that. I'm just, whatever the rules are, and you can love them or hate them, but let's not change them just for the playoffs. My thought.
No, and I'm the same way. I'm not a fan of them at all. The pitch clock I'm okay with. It definitely has sped up the game, but the extra inning rule is ludicrous to me. Even if you put a guy on first base, I'd be a little bit better with that.
Yeah.
I think that at least makes it a little more difficult for somebody to score easily. I mean, the fact you can win a game not putting in a ball in play, you have pass ball, game's over. I mean, that seems ridiculous to me.
It's possible. I don't know of a game ending like that in the history of the rule, but certainly possible. And I don't mind it. Both teams have the rule. I do like the guy on second. It makes extra innings kind of excitable and kind of fun to watch. So when you've gone, it may be a game where no one has had a hit or no one has scored for like 5 or 6 innings, and then you get to extras and that guy's going to be out there. It really creates some angst into that inning. Where are you going to be able to get out of it if you're the home team to get to the bottom of that inning? Like what might happen? I think it creates a fun atmosphere for the game. I do like it. I like it.
Why didn't, and maybe you know why, and because I don't know, why did baseball not have any games on Friday night? Last Friday, it was an empty night. There was no games. They put 4 games on Saturday, and I saw a lot of people saying, boy, it would have been great to have a game or 2 on Friday night. There was no really college football to go against. It would have been a big spotlight for baseball, but for whatever reason, they elected not to do it.
I think it was based off the fact that you were so upset that there was Friday night NFL. I think because you made such a big fuss about that, they figured we're not gonna get Bob Greenberg riled up and start playing baseball on Friday night when it's supposed to be time for high school football.
The only time I care about Friday night sports would be if the Steelers played and or if the Pirates played in a playoff game, which is not ever going to happen. And the Steelers
both could happen.
The Steelers are not. I mean, there was a one Friday night game that was open up the season this year with the Eagles, but that is rare. And I can't even imagine that the Roonies would allow the Steelers to play on a Friday night going head to head versus high school football. They have been so integral with supporting high school football in the Pittsburgh area. That would be unbelievable in my mind that ever would happen.
And I guess there was something with the rule of because it was so early in the season and that don't have the rule against not playing on Fridays that early in the year. That's why they got to do one. But I don't know how it works. But all you can know is it is possible that someday the Steelers and the Pirates can both play on the same Friday night why not the same Friday night that both could play as well as high school football. It would just be a regular season baseball game, but it could happen.
What we didn't have a chance to say much, but what has been and what is the reaction in Cleveland Brown world right now here the day after their a really difficult, awful loss? They're 1-4 now. What's the reaction here today?
A lot of the reaction is whether or not it's time to end the experiment with Deshaun Watson. If you just think of just purely fan reaction, I don't know. Kevin Stefanski said at the end of the game yesterday or post-game press conference, he says we're not changing quarterbacks. So it doesn't seem like that's something that they were going to do. But it's to a point where there's a lot of fans that were. Is
that his decision? There's been speculation that it's coming from the top.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's a general manager decision. It might be higher than that. I don't know. And those are some of the things that we often don't find out. And maybe we find out in a book 10 years from now somewhere, those kind of things. But I don't know what's happening. But I know even going into yesterday's game, it didn't feel like the excitement of a year ago where you thought, the Browns have opportunities and it's going to be a team that could be pretty good. You thought the team might be good. And it's been hard. It's been a hard year to watch as a fan from game one so far this year.
I've seen a lot, and not just now when they're 1-4, but I saw it before the season started. There are at least seems like a faction of Cleveland Browns fans are just disgusted with the Deshaun Watson entire situation and really not. I mean, they're fans of the team, but not really supporting the team this year because they thought that was a mistake. He's not a great guy. I didn't want him to be the face of the organization, and a decision they made, and now it looks like the decision was the wrong one. Can they get out of this decision at this point without really ruining the organization?
No, I think it's just going to be a couple of years. They're going to have to deal with this unless they plan to not play him or release him, take a big hit on the cap. But like I said earlier, you can work around cap numbers. They've worked with his numbers so far, and you can make things happen. It would certainly not be the best thing for the organization as far as the money situation, but sometimes addition by subtraction does help a team. I don't know. I think really the thing that kind of hit hard this year is that when you made the deal without knowing as a fan all that was in the closet and the luggage, that came with it, the baggage that came with it when they traded for him.
He was suspended, though.
But then it got to a point where it was cleared, and there was going to be no grand jury, and it looked like, okay, this is whatever this was going to be.
He wasn't going to jail.
He wasn't going to go to jail, but they didn't know that all these other cases and all these things were going to happen. You just didn't know that as a fan, and maybe the organization knew, and they figured we're going to roll the dice. It's going to be okay. It's going to be a 4-game suspension or whatever it was. These are these things like before the trade. Get suspended after they got him. And it just has turned out to be.
But he does not look like even close to being the same quarterback.
No, and you don't know how much all of that was mental, how much that wore on him.
He's not working out. He isn't doing all the things he needed in the offseason.
He's been hurt. You just don't know. It's not the same guy that lit it up, but a lot of time has passed since then, mentally and physically, plus some injuries in there, a lot of time not playing. A lot of things went on.
How tough is it as a Browns fan?
It's tough to root for that
now,
guy.
but how tough is it to sit there and watch Baker Mayfield do very well now?
Well, you know what? I don't know where this would have all gone. Baker Mayfield had a really rough year his last year playing through injury and had a lot of endorsements. Maybe he wanted to be out there. Maybe he wanted to show his tough, be there for his team and the fans and the city. His last year was hard. I don't know. It was a situation. He didn't know if he was going to come back. Were they going to look somewhere else? But when they made the move for Watson, Baker leaves. I don't know if he would have ever gotten to this point. Think about this on the Baker Mayfield side. And would I let him have to be the starting quarterback for the Browns tomorrow? Yes. But I don't know if it would have gotten here the same way if he didn't get cut and he didn't fail in Carolina and he didn't go to the Rams and have that time with McVay and find something and get his swagger back. I don't know if Baker Mayfield is the player he is today if he never left Cleveland. I don't know that. A lot of things happened to him that knocked them back down again. And when he has that chip on his shoulder, that's when he's the really good player. And I think that's maybe what he needed. I think it goes back to an opener a few years ago when a pass deflected off of a guy in the home opener against the Texans off of the hands of Schwartz. A third-round pick they should have never made. He ran the wrong route. He deflected a pass, and Baker Mayfield tried to make the tackle. That was a shoulder injury, and things never materialized in Cleveland after that for Baker Mayfield. And it was it's amazing how one tip pass, after he had been 8 of 8, I believe, in that game to start the season, 8 of 8, they had scored a touchdown. It looked like, here we go. This is going to be a great year. And he tries to make a tackle, and the shoulder goes, and he was never the same in Cleveland.
It's funny you say that because Saturday during the Pitt game, Holstein threw an interception, and it was one of those plays, and David and I both yelled, "Don't tackle him," because I give up the touchdown. That's how quarterbacks get hurt. And fortunately, Holstein didn't get close to him, but I didn't want him tackling anybody on a return.
The Browns lost their kicker down the stretch last year, chasing a guy on a return. I'm like, don't even bother. Like, that's not your job. If the other guys can't tackle, no, don't chase them for 40 yards and blow out your hamstring or try to tackle and hurt your shoulder or arms. Yep, those guys are too valuable.
And that's going to do it for this segment. We're going to take a break, come back This Week in District 10 coming up next with Tom Reisenweber. Stay tuned. The Pick Sports Line presented by Flynn's Tire right here on 790 WPIC Sports Radio 96.7.
Hi, this is Joe Flynn with Flynn's Tire. We know how valuable your time is, so we've made it fast, easy, and affordable to buy tires. There's 3 easy ways to purchase tires from Flynn. First, just drive in, because Flynn's will get you in right now. No appointment necessary. The second option, give us a call, and we'll help you select and reserve the perfect tire for you. The third option, save time and buy online at flynnstire.com. It's that easy. Just drive in, and Flynn's will get you in right now.
Tell them Finny sent you.
This is XYZ Insurance. How can I help?
I have a question about my home policy.
Okay, question about phone policy.
Home policy.
Okay, gnome policy.
H-O-M-E, home.
Technology is great, but sometimes it's better to talk with a real person. With Erie Insurance, you have a caring, independent agent who's with you from beginning to end.
We don't have any HOMEs on record.
Call Reinhardt's Insurance, 724-342-2291. Go to erieinsurance.com for company licensure and product details.
In 1973, Lock, Stock, and Barrel opened their doors and served their first of over 3 million giant submarine sandwiches. And they still serve 42 whole subs on 15-inch buns. Lock, Stock, and Barrel also has burgers, specialty sandwiches, wraps, gyros, salads, wings, and even breakfast. Lock, Stock, and Barrel is also a full-service deli. Party rings, meat and cheese trays, and cold veggie trays are all available. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Closed Sundays and Mondays.
Did you know that Mancino's Driving School can give you your driver's test? That's right. Mancino's Driving School provides an approved Pennsylvania Department of Education certified driving course as well as behind-the-wheel training. Mancino's Driving School offers one-on-one, on-the-road driving lessons 7 days a week with day and evening hours. They use only certified driving instructors that have undergone extensive background investigation. For details or more information on adult training, go online to mancinosdrivingschool.com.
You have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
Now it's time for This Week in District 10. This Week in District 10 is brought to you by Flynn's Tires and Auto Service. Here's Bob Greenberg and the Erie Times' Tom Reisenweber.
And it's that time of the week. This Week in District 10, Tom Reisenweber joining us from the Erie Times, GoErie.com. And Tom, lots of news from this past week. The headline has to be the announcement that surprised a lot of people that longtime District 10 Chairman Pete Iacino is stepping down as the chairman of District 10 at the end of the month.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting timing. I know it's back in April. I think Pete was very close to retiring overall from District 10. It seems kind of an interesting thing now because I think he decided that this would be his last year, and he almost wants to just kind of mentor, I guess you could say, the next chairman, coming in. So. Kirk Skerpa he's done a great job filling in whenever Pete couldn't go to a PIAA board meeting as the vice chair. And if you think about it now, he at October 31st is the last day he's going to be the chairman. That gives him, 4 or 5 months to kind of mentor Kirk a little more and show him the ropes and, let him go through some 2 seasons as a chairman. And so, maybe at the end of the year, he hangs it up or maybe goes, hangs on for another year. He still has his spot on the DTED committee as a private school rep. He's still the basketball playoff committee chairman there. So, it's almost like he wants to, take some pressure off himself. It's a lot. I mean, I don't think people realize how much the chairman does outside of District 10. There's constant PIAA hearings, on Zoom or in person. There's lots of trips to Mechanicsburg. There's, constant trips all over the place. You're always dealing with some issues. So it takes that work off his plate, and he can kind of help Kirk get used to the news job. So, I think it's a good time for him to transition and, help out. And I'll be interested to see who puts their hat in the ring for the vice chair job. You have to have at least 3 years experience on the DTED committee as a voting member. And I would say almost the whole committee has that experience. The committee has not changed much in the last couple of years, except for a few positions. So there's probably 9 or 10 people that qualify for the job, and so we'll see what happens next meeting, who gets it.
What's your evaluation of Pete? I know I've worked with him. You have for many, many years, and I think overall he has done some very good things for District 10. Will be remembered from that. Obviously, always controversies that prop up every year, but overall, I think he's done a great job.
Yeah, I think if people would ignore his connections to Kennedy Catholic, they would think he has done an outstanding job. it's whether it's fair or not. When people think private school, they think something's going on. Which is not fair at all to Pete. You think about it, he's been on the committee for 30 years. He's been an officer for 20. So he's been there since day one of region play, because we're in our 21st season now of regions. Outstanding job, I think he's done. Throughout the years, he's guided District 10 through some really tough times. You think about COVID and what that did. We've seen some downturns in the economy, and he's had District 10 survive that. He's listened to the people, I think, too. There was years we had everyone got into the playoffs. There's been years where he restricted it. There's been years without. What we have now is kind of a seeding, which I think was a nice turn. So you think about where D10 was 10 years ago when he took over as chairman, and where it is now. I think he's just done an outstanding job.
Yeah, I agree. I think and I agree with you about the Kennedy connection. There's when anything ever comes up, that's always unfairly, and in most cases, we know in most cases or almost every single case, he recuses himself. He's not involved in any of the issues with Kennedy.
No, and it goes really for all three private schools. Anytime there's a hearing about Cathedral Prep, Mercer's Prep, Kennedy Catholic, he always recuses himself. You want to make sure it's all on the up and up. He can let the chairman. That's where Kirk Skirpa help. Kind of fill in and run those hearings. You want to make sure everyone was good to go and objective and everything like that. So he did everything he could to convince people that he's going to do the best job possible. It doesn't matter what school he's associated with. And that's the thing too. I think kind of irritates me a little bit about the general public. They have this perception, which I don't understand at all, about District 10. You and I have been gone to these meetings. I've been going to the meetings for my whole career, and they do an outstanding job at District 10. They care about the kids. They do what they think is fair. Sometimes they don't. People don't agree with what they do. That's fine, but they're not out to get anybody. And that's the one thing I liked about Pete during his tenure. Whether you like the answer or not, he'll give you an answer. You ask him for what about this, what about this. Whether you think it's a short answer, a non-answer, he'll always give you something. He'll always answer the question and to direct you to where you need to go if you need to go somewhere else with it.
Tom, you were at the District 10 board meeting last Wednesday when this was announced, and there was a story that kind of had some really almost went viral down here. Kind of surprised everybody. It was not on the agenda. That it came out that Sharon, their cross-country head coach and a volunteer assistant, got suspended for a year over, quote, recruiting. And it kind of it snowballed. People went absolutely berserk about it. And then we found out over the weekend that after the two ladies were suspended for a year, that District 10, after getting further information from Sharon, elected to rescind the suspension. Is this one of the more unusual stories ever?
It is very unusual because I looked at what the additional information is that they got. It seemed kind of cut and dry. I know there's a lot of emotions in this whole situation, and it's kind of you got to separate what's right, kind of thing. If you look at the basic situation of a coach or a group paying tuition for a student athlete to stay at that school, that doesn't look good. I know there's the best intentions. It's the best intentions at all. You're helping this kid out. It's not a situation for them if they have to leave the school. Competing in cross country helps them in their life and to turn things around, which is great. But if you look at just the basic tenets of this thing, it's almost like a booster club paying for tuition for an athlete. So if you let that go on, that opens the door so much for Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. All of a sudden, we have booster clubs paying tuition for football players, basketball players. So I think at its core, District 10 had it right. It's just a matter of, I don't know what this new information is. If there was something was misunderstood, or if the coaches were tied to this thing without proof, and they weren't actually tied to it. Maybe that's what came forward, new proof that it was an outside group or something like that was doing this. So I'd like to see what the initial information is, because that's a very interesting turn of events on this whole thing.
And Heather Shell and Jen Fertig, the two coaches that were impacted, I've communicated multiple times with Heather, and The thing that struck me, Tom, about this whole situation was, and we've done this for many years, we've seen coaches in trouble, suspended. The outcry was so loud in support of these two ladies that it was impossible to ignore. And I think that's what separated this story from me and why I got involved from down here to help at least put a spotlight on it.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like, all you hear about the two coaches are how great people they are, and they care about the kids, and they've been doing this a long time. So it's almost hard to believe that they would do something they didn't know was wrong. They have that. They're not like in their first or second year. They've been around for a long time, so they obviously know what's allowed, what's not allowed. So maybe it's just a misunderstanding here at some point of they were connected to this whole thing, because it sounds like they've been just great for the kids for a long, long time. So they know the PNI rules. They know what's allowed, what's not. So I guess it's a good thing it's all got cleared up at the end.
Yeah, the only thing still out there, from what I'm told, is Sharon School Board meets a week from tomorrow, or actually on the 15th, week from Tuesday, and they officially have to lift the suspension from the Sharon perspective, from what I'm told. So it's still not officially done deal yet. She is still suspended, but I can't imagine that won't be reversed. But we don't know that. We'll find out, I guess, in a week. A couple other quick details, Tom. High school football coming down the stretch, week number 7. A lot of blowouts. Where do we stand here as we get ready to start talking about the playoffs?
Yeah, only 2 weeks left of region play. We have some huge games coming up. Obviously, Farrell and Sharpsville have to play each other. That's probably for the Region 1 title. Greenville is kind of running away with Region 2, which is nice. They've been great this year. You think about Greenville, they've won 6 in a row since losing to Wilmington in that first game, and we could see a rematch for the D10 title there in 1A. Mercier's Prep, despite all those early season problems, playing really tough teams, they're 3-0, kind of running away with Region 3 a little bit. Sharon hanging on. They're only a game up on Hickory in Region 4. They're 3-0 in the region, and they lead by 1 game. Hickory and Titusville. Fairview, I guess it could be one of the surprise teams of the year. They're down to their really backup wide receiver. They have no quarterback now. Their 2 quarterbacks are hurt, and they're still in first place by themselves. Huge game with Corey this week. And if Corey wins, it's chaos. You're going to have a 3-way tie for first place. If Fairview wins, they pretty much clinch the region title. That's a huge game on Friday. And Gerald McLean, Meadville, huge game on Thursday. That could decide the Region 6 title. And McDowell hammered Prep on Friday to win the Region 7 title. So still have some huge games to go in the last 2 weeks here.
Yeah, no question about it. Tom, we appreciate your time as always. Have a great week. We look forward to chatting with you next Monday.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob.
All right, Tom Reisenweber of the Erie Times. And we bring Mark Slazak back in. What's the update, Mark?
Oh, not good.
Oh, boy. Sorry about
good.
that.
3-run home run for the Tigers in the 9th.
Oh.
I think it was the first time that they said that anybody's had a home run off a Class A's slider since 2022, but it just happened. So go to the bottom of the 9th, and the Tigers lead the Guardians 3-0.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, sorry about that.
That's all right. It's all right.
Let's jump into high school football. First off, our lock, stock, and barrel high school football plays of the week. We had 2 games last week, week 7, and here are our lock, stock, and barrel plays of the week.
Sharon, Grove City.
First and 10 at the 50. Engelmore rolling right, throws it in the right flat, caught by Perks. Perks to the 40, Perks to the 30. Logan Perks, he's going to go all the way. Touchdown, Sharon. Logan Perks, his first touchdown of the year. He came into the night with 1 catch all year. He's caught 2 in the first quarter. The second one gives Sharon a 13-0 lead.
Hickory, Titusville.
2 backs in the center, Calhoun and Morrison to each side of the quarterback of the shotgun, Tellez. He will keep it after the fake hand up big hole at the middle. He's to the 30, 35, 40. He's in a sprint to the 50, to the 40. One man, can he catch him? 30, 20. They're not going to get him. 10, 5, and a huge touchdown run for Xander Tellez.
That'll be 88 yards for Xander Tellez, showing his great speed to get into the end zone. And Hickory goes back up by 2 scores, 20-7. And those are the lock, stock, and barrel plays of the week. Mark, let's do a quick recap of week number 7.
Sharon knocked off Grove City 35-0 in a Region 4 game. Now 3-0 alone in first place in the region, 6-1 overall.
And Sharon shutting out Grove City. I think the first time in 10 years Grove City has not scored a point in a game. Sharon's 8th shutout since last year. So their defense playing at a very high level. And Logan Perks had a great game. He was our Reinhardt's player of the game.
Yeah, 3 catches, 77 yards, a 50-yard touchdown. You heard Briggsy on that clip, just 1 catch coming in. 322 on offense for Sharon. 6 different players scored in the Tigers' 5th straight win. Hickory knocked off Titusville 56-21 in a game that you and I called on Friday. Titusville snapping the Titusville 5-game winning streak snapped by the Hornets.
And the unbelievable stat of the year, Hickory ran just 20 plays from scrimmage, 361 total yards. Xander Tellez was our player of the game. He had 114 yards rushing, 78 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Calvin Morrison was huge as well, 102 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and a kickoff return. Jaden Phillips, he had a big game. I mean, Hickory, a lot of offensive and defensive weapons. It was a fun game to do up at Titusville, but Hickory with a big win.
In Region 1, Sharpsville stayed undefeated in the region, setting up a big matchup with Farrell this weekend. They beat Mercer 35-6.
And it was Gino Curry again leading the way along with Jaden White. Jaden White, 155 yards rushing and a touchdown. Gino Curry, 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. Aiden Cadman, another big game as the quarterback. Aiden Puskar also caught a touchdown. Sharpsville and Farrell Friday night for first place should be fun.
In Region 2, Greenville 36, Lakeview nothing. Greenville with a 3-0 record in Region 2.
How about 6 wins in a row for the Trojans? They are rolling right now, led by Nick Solderich, 127 yards rushing, 103 yards passing. Rudy Gentili, 83 yards rushing and a couple touchdowns. This is a Greenville team that looks like they have a legitimate chance to win a district championship.
Back to Region 4, Slippery Rock gets their first region win of the year, knocking off Conneaut 16-13.
Yeah, 51-yard run by Popovic with 3:25 to go. Doug Popovic, the game winner for the Rockets, a huge win for Slippery Rock. They finished with 289 yards total offense, and they were led by Owen Long, 104 yards rushing on 28 carries. Popovic had both touchdowns in the game for Slippery Rock.
Back into Region 1, Wilmington on Saturday night knocked off Reynolds 56-9 to go 2-1 in Region 1.
How about the Wilmington Greyhounds? Really impressive. Chase Mitchelltree, Jamie Miller, Cal Kettering, among others, combining for over 300 yards rushing for the Greyhounds on Saturday night. Wesley Vascal, 93 yards passing, a couple touchdowns. Reddy Zetner had a 64 yards receiving and 2 touchdown receptions. A really impressive win for Wilmington, 56-9. And that will do it for week number 7.
That forfeit win.
Oh, yeah.
Farrell winning by forfeit over Kennedy.
Farrell wins by forfeit over Kennedy. We'll take a break. We'll come back. It's Pigskin Pick'em time. We have 7 of our pickers who tied with a perfect record. We have to break that tie. We'll tell you how the experts did as well and who we think will win in week number 8. So stay tuned. Pigskin Pick'em coming up next right here on 790 Sports Radio 96.7.
All right, who used the vacuum cleaner last? It's not working.
I thought you did.
Well, now I am, yeah, but it won't even clean the cobwebs around the vent in the bathroom.
I used it on some dust bunnies under the bed.
How about you?
I just did the stairs with it.
Claire?
I used it on Tabitha's belly.
The cat?
Is your favorite floor sweep on the fritz? Don't spend hundreds on a new one. Liberty Sweeper can repair any make or model for much less. Liberty Sweeper, Sharpsville Plaza in Sharpsville, or at libertysweepers.com.
I'm hungry.
Well, I know just the place to go.
They got what I like?
Oh, yeah.
Win? Wait, what about drinks?
Well, it's a bar and grill, so yeah, you're covered.
Win-win?
Speaking of win, they've got gaming too, so you can
win.
Come sit down for a great meal, a great drink, a great time, or all 3. Vay's Pub and Grill has just what you want. So come by for good eats, cold drinks, and the latest ways to win. Vay's Pub and Grill, East State Street, Hermitage.
Listen to Senior Update with Sam Bellich every Friday morning at 9 as he explores issues and concerns about seniors in our community. Sponsored by Mercer County Area Agency on Aging Incorporated, Pennsylvania Medicare Education and Decision Insight, PA-MEDI, which offers free Medicare counseling by specially trained staff to answer your questions about Medicare, Medicare savings programs, Medicaid, and supplemental insurances. For more information, call 724-662-6222 or 1-800-783-7067. This project is supported by a grant from the Administration for Community Living. Do you have a loved one in a long-term care facility? Pennsylvania's long-term care ombudsman program works to empower residents and advocates for those who are unable to advocate for themselves. Call 724-662-6222 for more information or to become a volunteer. Listen to Senior Update every Friday morning on News Talk 790 WPIC on air, online at 790WPIC.com, and on the 790 WPIC radio station app.
It's time now for our weekly edition of Pigskin Pick'em. Our local panel of experts will now tell you who's going to win this week's high school football games. They're not that good, so how about some educated guesses? They're not that good either? Well, why don't they just flip a freaking coin? Now it's time for this week's edition of Pigskin Pick'em.
All right, here we go. Pigskin Pick'em, week number 7 from the experts. 9 of us go 6-1. The only game we missed was Slippery Rock beating Conneaut. 2 of the experts go 7-0, and will share the week's win. Chris Birch and Ken Moyer. For the season in last place, 42 wins, Rob Molson and Ken Moyer. In tied for 8th place with 43 wins, Chris Birch and Darren Steele. Tie for 3rd place, Art Shannon with 45 wins. Art Shannon, Landmark Information. Hugh Ringer, Tom Reisenweber. 44 wins, Mark Slazak. Actually, Mark's in 7th place.
7th? Oh, man. I thought it was.
Nah, you're below you're one game back.
Got me all the way up to this F2.
Nah, sorry about that.
2nd place.
In 2nd place is yours truly with 46 wins. And in 1st place, again, with 48 wins, the Professor Ryan Briggs. We had 7 that tied at 7-0. Another sports guy, his name is Joseph Grill, Quinn Parson, Ryan Haynes, Todd Fisher, Chris Birch, Ken Moyer. The experts can win the $25 gift card, and we drew it on the video during the break, and the winner of the $25 gift card to Vay's Pub and Grill is Ken Moyer.
So he's in last place, but he's got a gift card, so that's better than where I am in 7th place.
Ken,
because I have no gift card.
And I got on him last week for an embarrassing result, and he came up.
Came back perfect.
He came up perfect, and I give him credit. So congrats to Ken Moyer. Now let's jump into week number 8.
A lot of region games this week. Starts on Thursday with 3 and 4 Lakeview battling Cochranton at 2 and 4.
And there's another one. Lakeview's taken a couple on the chin here lately. A promising start to the year. This is really a big game if Lakeview's thinking playoffs. And 11 of us going with Lakeview to beat Cochranton on Thursday night.
Big radio game coming up on Friday. Region 1, 3-0 Sharpsville in the region, 3-0 Farrell in the region. Bob, you and I will have the coverage of that one.
That'll be on 790 on Friday night, also on 96.7 Facebook. And some great history between these two teams. They've had one of the most memorable district championship games ever. Farrell winning in overtime at Hickory a few years ago. This game should be interesting. I think Farrell comes in as the big favorite. Don't count Sharpsville out. The experts say one of us going with Sharpsville. Darren Steele thinks the Blue Devils will win this game. The other 10 experts think Farrell will win and take over first place in the region.
On Sports Radio 96.7, Region 4 matchup, Grove City will travel to Hickory.
Boy, longtime rivals, had some legendary moments, playoff moments. Grove City has struggled here lately, taking on the chin last week against Sharon. It's homecoming in Hermitage, so that could be a distraction. Hickory's playing very well. Hickory needs to win to keep their region championship hopes alive. And the experts think it will be Hickory. All 11 think Hickory will beat Grove City.
Region 4 matchup. First place Sharon will travel to Conneaut, who still looks for their first region win.
Sharon playing very well. Boy, their defense is at a high level. They're throwing the ball better. This is a team that's getting better at the right time of the season. All 11 of us think Sharon will go to Conneaut and win.
Greenville hasn't lost since their opener. They're 3-0 in Region 2. They'll play second place Sagertown at Sagertown on Friday.
Boy, this is a big game. Could basically clinch the league title for Greenville. They won one game last year. They won 6 in a row this year. A big-time stretch for Mike Menold. The experts, 10 of us going with Greenville to win this game. Art Shannon, the big guy, thinks Sagertown will knock off the Trojans.
In Region 4, Titusville fell to Hickory. That was their first region loss. Slippery Rock got their first region win last week. Titusville at Slippery Rock on Friday.
Well, we saw Titusville. I'm impressed. Very competitive team. Just didn't match up very well with Hickory. We think they match up better versus Slippery Rock. The experts say this. 10 of us going with Titusville to win. Chris Birch taking Slippery Rock to knock off the Rockets.
Another big game in Region 1. We'll have Mercer at Wilmington.
Boy, Wilmington coming off a huge win. Mercer, they have been taking their lumps lately, and we think they'll take their lumps again on Friday. All 11 of us going with Wilmington to beat Mercer.
And on the schedule, Reynolds to play at Kennedy on Saturday.
That game is scheduled. I believe it'll be played, and Reynolds, all 11 of us think Reynolds will avenge a couple tough losses, and they beat Kennedy on Saturday afternoon. And that will do it for Pigskin Pick'em week number 8. We have a couple great games on the radio on Friday. Farrell and Sharpsville, Hickory and Grove City. And baseball continues. When is Game 3 for the Guardians?
They'll play again on Wednesday in Detroit. 3:08 is the start time.
We have Pitt and California Saturday afternoon on 96.7. We have Monday Night Football tonight with Kansas City, New Orleans on 96.7. We have Thursday Night Football as well. So you're home for high school, college, and professional football right here on 96.7. On behalf of Mark Slazak, Flint's Tire and Auto Service, I am Bob Greenberg. Have a great week, everybody.
You're listening to News Talk 790 WPIC, Sharon, Hermitage, and Sports Radio 96.7 WLLF, Mercer, Hermitage, a Cumulus station.
This is a Radio PA news update. Pennsylvania State Police troopers are now leading the investigation into an officer-involved shooting in Wilkes-Barre. It happened yesterday morning on Holland Street. Neither Wilkes-Barre police nor the state police are saying what led up to the shooting. Neighbors